Welcome. I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up! And I made this gorgeous card with products from Stampin' Up! I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website. I also have links for the products that I used. And if you would like to order any of those products, you can just click the links and be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. This card actually has very little stamping, but I am using the Abundant Beauty decorative masks. And we're going to use blending brushes to put the ink on the card. And for the greeting, I am using So Sincere, which is a really wonderful set that has some lovely greetings for you. The decorative masks is what Stampin' Up! Calls these. I grew up calling these stencils, but this is a fairly fancy group of stencils. You get some layered pieces that will put the flowers all together. Plus there's some backgrounds like this houndstooth, some snowflakes, and some leaves. And I have made myself a little tool to help me with the masks. You might recognize it. This is some of our white thin cardstock from the back of Designer Series paper, and I have drawn on the lines for the size of cardstock that I'm using, and I've also put the notch here. All of these layering pieces have the notch. I actually did my first sample not realizing that these are numbered. So I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there it is. There's a 3 there under the notch. And so I discovered I was using the wrong side. Not a problem. You could do it certainly this way. Of course, this tool is optional. You can do it or not. Up to you. My cardstock is a crumb cake card base, a layer of early espresso, and this is my standard 4 by 5 1/4 layer. And then this layer is very vanilla, and it is 3 1/4 by 5. And then I have this strip that's 3 3/4 by 1. So I'm going to start off by just stamping my greeting. And I'm stamping that in early espresso. These are the other colors that I'm using. And I don't know if you can read that. That's Daffodil Delight. And I think that just about any of these greetings would be great for this. I used Hope Your Day is a Happy One. Maybe I'll switch that out for So Thankful for You. And I'm putting this up in the top right corner. And that's all the stamping I'm going to do. And then I'm going to put my cardstock here. And it's not totally critical exactly where it is. I've measured this to be 6 by 6, and I found the center. But I found that the flowers kind of are not really centered on here. So I'm going to move this over just a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch. And you can temporarily keep this here. You might want to use mini glue dots on the back with maybe taking down some of the stickiness with your fingers. I'm using this labeling and cover-up tape. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, I'm sorry. Maybe someday we'll carry it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this mask on here, and just with paper clips. I want to make sure that the tape isn't covering up anything. And I want you to notice that my words that I've just stamped are showing through here. So when I am putting ink there, I want to be really careful that I don't brush it too much, or that ink could smear as it gets moisture from the yellow. I'm using a combination of small and medium size blending brushes. This one's the medium one. And so I'm going to start off by kind of brushing on the solid plastic part here so that I can work the ink into the bristles without too much ink getting blobbed on. And when I'm over here, I'm actually going to tap instead of smear, because I do want some ink there. I do want that yellow, but I don't want it to blur my words. And you can go as dark or light as you want. I'm going kind of dark. And once I get away from the words, the greeting, I can go a little bit faster and not have to be as careful. And then I'm going to put away the Daffodilidolite and get out my pumpkin pie, because I want to have a little bit of pumpkin pie in the center of these flowers. And so I'm going to start swirling here. Isn't that nice? I like it. And then I'm going to swap out the covering paper. You can just run this under the sink to get rid of the ink, or you can use a wipe to take off the ink off the surface. The number 2 is the leaves. And so I'm just matching that up again. Putting my paper clips back on. And again, I'm looking to make sure that the tape is not showing through there. And so not very much is showing through. The leaves actually go off the edge of this cardstock. Having this, having the cardstock taped to the cardboard underneath and the paper clips makes it easy for me to hold this in one place. But of course you can just hold it with your hands. It's not impossible to do. And if you are just holding it with your hands and it moves around a little bit, you can just put it back in place and keep working. Already getting pretty. And number 3. Number 3 is the flower centers. And I am finding that sometimes it's not exactly where I want it. So I'm going to adjust my flower centers a little bit. And I'm using copper clay. Copperclay is one of our in colors. And you can go as dark or light as you want with these. And you could actually stop right here. I think that that looks beautiful. But I'm switching to the early espresso. Back to where we began. And we have some highlighting that kind of shows the seeds and a little bit of, not sparkle, but just a little bit of detail. And I'm going to go lighter with this for this card. We'll see how I like it. What do you think? Do you like it a little lighter? And now I can remove this tape. I'm going to add just a little bit of garden green highlighting with the leaf background. And for this one, I put it in there. It's a little bit narrower than the card. So I think what I'm going to do for this one, see if I like it, is maybe I think I'm going to turn it this way and just to do a little bit on the top and then move it and put it a little bit on the bottom. We'll see if I like it that way. So I'm going to just swirl just a little bit on the top. I don't want this to be a big focal point of the inside of the card. And it's really easy to go a little bit darker than you intended. You could actually cover this up with a piece of paper if you want, so you don't go beyond. And I do see that there is quite a border. So I think when I do this bottom side, I'm going to move my mask up a little bit higher. So I want to stop here where the crease is. I think I like that a little bit better. And some people say no naked envelopes, and I am guilty of having naked envelopes fairly often. But I'm going to decorate this one. And in this case, I think I'm going to just hold this here and not clip it on. But I am putting the design close to the crease on the envelope. And you can see that I've got darker and lighter areas, and in my opinion, that's just fine. I like that. Now, if you want, you can use Wink of Stella, and I think Wink of Stella looks really nice just on the flower centers. So pretty, just adds a little bit of sparkle. And something that I did on this card is I actually used the fine tip glue pen to make a whole patch of shiny there. And to do that, you're going to use a lot of the glue. And when you do this, you want to remember that it does take, especially when we're putting it on so thick, it does take a little bit of time to dry. So do not just leave it on your craft table unless you're a better person than I am, because I tend to put my elbow or my hand right in the middle of it and spread it around. I actually want to put a fair bit of the glue in here. Now my glue is, I've had it for quite a while, and I think I probably have a little blob of dried up ink in there. Let me go ahead and show you something about this. You can actually, this has two caps. It's got this cap, which I can't get off right now, but it also has this one. And you can take this part out, might need some pliers. And this actually can be replaced. I do sell these replacement glue tips if you want, but so you can see that this glue is dried up in here, and that's going to clog up this glue. And when it dries, it's really pretty permanent. And you can work very hard to get all of that glue out of there and not really be very successful. If it hasn't totally dried up, you can use a pin or a paper clip to get this out. And you don't want to be shoving it down into the pin part, into the needle. You want to pull it away from the needle. If it's already dried, go ahead and order one of my replacement glue tips. It's well worth the money. So let me see if that helps me. Just put this back on. Put this on. And so that needle end will poke through there. And it should come out nice. Oh yeah, much easier. So we can actually spread a lot of that around. Oh, so much easier. If you get bubbles in here, you do want to try and pop the bubbles. And again, do not let your fingers get here before it gets dried. I'm not sure how long it takes to dry, but just plan on maybe an hour, or overnight if you can. I think maybe an hour it will be dry, but I don't know. I've never timed it. And when you do close it up, you do want to put that little pin in there. I often will put my finger on the needle part and help to guide it in there. I'm going to set that one aside, and then I'm going to really quickly make another one so I can show you the next steps. My next step is to mark very lightly in pencil 1.5 inches up from this bottom. And I'm going to very lightly mark between the inky parts. And I'm going to fussy cut. Now, there's this little triangle, and I actually want to leave that little triangle but cut up to that line. So I'm leaving a little flap there. And then I'm going to cut around. And if you leave a little bit of a border, it will be a big help. If you can manage to turn your cardstock instead of your elbow, it will be very helpful. Now, we don't want to cut off this leaf, although I suppose you could actually cut that leaf off and then tape it back on or glue it back on. But I'm going to leave it attached. And again, I'm going to leave a little flap to tuck under. So I'm going to just kind of connect those like so. And then erase the lines. So we're going to glue this strip to the early espresso. Oh, and I've got inky fingers. I need to go wash my hands. And I am leaving that 1/8 inch border. And then I'm going to wrap my ribbon around this card. So I'm going to put adhesive here and here. And I'm using this duo. This is called the Copper and Natural ribbon, and it is so pretty. And I chose these colors because this ribbon goes really well with both of these colors. And it also goes with copper clay, and of course copper and copper, sure, of course it's going to go. So I'm just going to wrap this around. And I want this about 1/2 inch up from the bottom. Add a little more adhesive in the middle of that. And wrap the copper. This is such pretty ribbon, so shiny. I hope you can see how shiny that is. And then we can put this on, and we're going to tuck in those little edges so the leaf and the flower goes on top. Hopefully I can tuck that in. Might need to bend those down. I think I'm going to cut this a little bit like that. So that we can slide it down, and if you need to do a little bit more snipping, it's fine. Easy to do that. We just need to be able to slide this down so that we've got our 1/8 inch up here. And I'll add some adhesive up here. And then this looks like it's all one piece, I think. You may want to put a little glue dot here. And we'll put this on the front. So pretty. And this one does not have the Wink of Stella. So let me put that Wink of Stella back on. And there you go. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Just click the links and you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! Click Home near the top of my page and you'll find lots of resources. Under Shop, you can find the products I offer to make crafting more convenient, how to get free products with my frequent shopper rewards, and a link to my online store at Stampin' Up! Click Inspiration to scroll all my projects back to 2011, most with detailed directions and videos. Though the products in those older projects have been retired, you may find techniques, layouts, or color combinations to inspire you today. If you're new to stamping, you might want to look at the basics. You'll find how to cut card bases and layers, and some of my favorite tools. Under organization, you'll find lots of free resources such as catalog tabs, labels and case inserts, color tools, and much more. More organization means more time for stamping. You can learn about my Evernote notebook. I have a note for every current product that Stampin' Up! Has for sale right now. It really makes finding just exactly what you want very easy. And you can create your own notebook and search through all of the things that you own to find just what you need. Come stamp with me here in Ventura County, California, or get the best deal of all and join my team of crafters. The team is called SIP Together, and it stands for Stamps, Ink, and Paper Together. Be sure to subscribe to my website and on my YouTube channel. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.